Alright, hello everybody. Today I'm going to be recording a video of all the laptops that I've collected rather recently, or not so rather recently. The only few that I haven't collected so rather recently are this one and this one. And yes, I am using my foot to point to the ones that I have not collected recently. All of the rest of these I have gotten for free, but I'm not going to leave them free. Meaning, all of them are in some state of disrepair and they need parts or something like that. So, I'll go over them one by one, and I'll just, talk about them and, do all that fun stuff. So I'm gonna start with this green Dell over here. This green Dell is a Dell Inspiron 1525. As you can see, the cover's a bit dirty, and the keyboard itself is a bit dirty. And I'm not going to show you the screen because my reflection shows on the screen, but it's got floppy hinge syndrome. You can see the slight reflection of computers in the background shaking like heck. It's got a Core 2 Duo inside and was originally loaded with Windows Vista Basic. The hard drive is incorrectly mounted. As you can kind of see here, it's missing a screw, but it's got a 40 gig Seagate hard drive in it, and that drive works perfectly fine. Flipping it to the underside, the CD drive is not properly mounted, and it does not have the locking screw in place, nor does it have the little bar that has a screw holder right there. So, that's more money there. You can better see the broken hard drive mount here. Well, it's not broken, it's just not screwed in properly. This cover here is missing a few screws. The heatsink was like literally completely clogged when I went and opened it. So I applied new thermal compound and cleaned that out. And it's missing a battery. So other than that, and this little feature back here, this laptop is in pretty good condition. It just could use a little bit of TLC to make it nice and happy again. So once I get this laptop all nice and restored and back to spick-span shape, I'll be making a video of it. On to the next one. The next one on my list is a Dell Mini, or Dell Inspiron 910, as it says on the back. This one has an incredibly small keyboard and would not be usable for anybody with massive fingers. It has no HDD, it uses an SSD, which is accessible from the back, right into this. It's mostly stripped down. It does not have RAM, it does not have a Wi-Fi card, only the SSD is left in there, and that's because it does not power on. I don't know if it's the jack that's improper or what, but any AC adapter I try on this does not even cause the battery charging LEDs or the power LED to come on, and pressing the power button does not do anything. So I'm not sure if I can fix this thing or not, but I'm gonna dang try. On to the next one. Next item on the list is a Gateway LT2016U. It works perfectly, the battery holds good charge, hard drive works nicely, and it has a dual boot of Windows XP and Android x86 on it. The screen is incredibly hard to lift off with one hand, and I'm going to have to use my foot again. It has a webcam, a nice screen which you can see my reflection in, a tiny keyboard like the Dell Mini, but it's I think a little bit bigger, so that's a plus. The touchpad is incredibly small, and the power button is nice and tactile, I guess. Yeah, you can see the dual boot of Android x86 and XP there, but I'm not going to boot from that. If it'll turn off. There we go. So it has, I think, a whole 500 and no, it has a gig worth of RAM in there, and an 80 gig hard drive. So that's that. And the battery sticks out a lot more than the rest of the computer. which is not a problem on that Dell. So, on to the next one. The next laptop on our list is a Dell Inspiron 1150. As you can see, this laptop is missing the keyboard, and that's a different story that I will tell in a minute. It has a Pentium 4 mobile, which is just under this plate right here, and managed to stay cool enough that the cooling fan does turn off. The original Toshiba hard drive has grinding bearings, which can be fixed, and I'm going to fix it. The replacement hard drive is a 40 gig Hitachi IDE and uses the Dell IDE adapter type. It's a bit dirty, as you can see right here. It's very dirty, and on the cover and elsewhere on the thing, and the hinges are not too horrible. And the battery holds a slight charge. Not a huge charge, but a charge nonetheless. And now I'm going to, first, these trackpad buttons are completely broken, so I'm going to have to provide a replacement for those. And this right here is a bit broken as well. Now for the actual story of this. I got this laptop and I powered it on for the first time. And it was registering stuck keys on the keyboard even when there wasn't stuck keys. So I took the keyboard off and, just first off, even before I took the keyboard off, when pressing the keys, they felt very sticky. And so I took the keyboard off and made sure it was seated in the thing correctly, and it was. So then I went on to just, I went and tapped it on my table, just very lightly, and a bunch of stuff, a bunch of junk, a bunch of disgustingness came out, and bugs came out. Not dead bugs, live bugs. So I immediately squashed the bugs and ran the keyboard over to my sink and began dousing it in flaming hot water. And yeah, that makes sense because, flaming hot water. So after a good 10 minutes, just solid minutes of washing it and solid chunks of disgustingness flowing out, I left it to dry overnight. The next day I plugged it back in and it still was registering stuck keys. So I went over to the sink and began washing it some more, and for a good 20 minutes of washing it at different angles, I was still getting more disgustingness out of it. So I let it dry for another day, and then I plugged it back in, and it was still registering stuck keys, so I threw it away. But that's probably the most disgusting keyboard I've ever seen, and as you can see, there's still some residue from that there. And even on this part where the metal plate comes off, this little metal plate, I washed that thoroughly and there's still some crap on it. I assume once I get this touchpad assembly off and I'm able to wash it, I think I should be able to clean that better than there is. So, yeah, that's this Inspiron 1150 here, and it's in need of some desperate TLC. But it's not a bad laptop otherwise, and it has Linux Mint XFCE on it right now, as I'll show you. And it's not going to work because I don't have a keyboard, so never mind. I'll move on to the next one. So the next laptop in our list is the Toshiba M400 tablet PC. The screen flips around like so and latches down, if I can get it latched down correctly. So you can use it as a tablet with this pen. This tablet has a Core 2 Duo processor inside, even though it has the Centrino marketing scheme right there. I'm so glad that's gone away. The battery is completely flat, and that'll need to be replaced. The original 80 gig hard drive works nicely, and has a install of Kubuntu on it, and I don't know the version. There's this unfortunate random dent in the Toshiba logo that you can see, kind of. And that's very unfortunate because other than that, this is a very nice laptop. It doesn't have very many scratches on it for a silver cover. This pen also has a problem. If I turn the laptop like this, you can see this little tab right here. On a normal pen, it would have stuck down a lot further. And that actually had a function on this. See, when I push it in, it does not lock in place. which I'm going to need to buy a replacement pen for that, but that's alright, because these don't go for very much on eBay, I don't think, so not a problem. Other than that, this laptop is in pretty dang good condition other than the flat battery in the pen. So I'm going to move on to the next one now. Next one on the list is a Dell Latitude D610. The original 40 gig Hitachi hard drive in this works perfectly. The hinges are not very floppy, which is nice. The media keys and everything of the sort work nicely. And there's only a slight bit of keyboard glazing. The track point works fairly well as well. There's a bit of glazing down here and a bit of wear on the paint right there, and some of the rubber stamps are missing where the screws would be. The Pentium M logo down here is a bit worn off, and yeah, that's all for cosmetics. It's very clean otherwise, just besides a little bit of stuff on the top. The battery in this is completely flat, and it does not work at all. Not even pressing this button gives you anything. The hard drive screws are missing for whatever reason. I'm pretty sure it's the original hard drive though. I think it's of the time. It's got, I think, 512 megabytes of RAM, if not more. And it has an almost clean install of Windows XP that came with it. So that's a bit interesting. I don't know what that was for. So I'm going to go on to the next one now. This next laptop here is a Dell Vostro 1000. It is in very good condition for its age. It only has slight keyboard glazing, which can probably be wiped off if I ever get to it. It has no keyboard or no glazing on the palm rests, and it has no glazing on the pad or the buttons, the mouse buttons. There is a slight problem with the power button. It has a little chip off there, so it looks a bit odd, but that's about it. It has an AMD TK53 in it at I don't know how many gigahertz, and the really only thing it's missing is a hard drive caddy, so the hard drive is just kind of shoved in there, not even secured. This thing also has 4 gigs of RAM if I can power it on. It has 2 working batteries and 4 gigs of RAM. I'll show you the 4 gigs of RAM because it'll show it in the post. It also debunks a myth there that these Dell Vostro 1000s can only support 2 gigs of RAM. I actually looked that up, and a lot of people in fact said that these can only support 2 gigs of RAM. And coincidentally, I had actually had a laptop that was broken that had a full working 4 gigs of DDR2 RAM on 2 SODIMMs. So I popped those in there and it fully detects and fully works with the 4 gigs of RAM. So if anybody's ever upgrading one of these old bad boys, then you can easily stuff 4 gigs of RAM in it, at least with the BIOS revision that was on there. So yeah, that's about it. Go on to the next one. The next laptop in the list is an Acer laptop, and the model number is right there. It's an Acer Aspire 5672 WLM lowercase I. They had all the letters in this capital up until the I, in which they decided to make it lowercase. I don't even know. The keyboard is incredibly dirty and has tons of glazing, so I'm going to need to replace that, as well as the missing keys, 2 of these which work, and then 2 of them which don't. Other than that, with AC plugged in, this laptop works perfectly fine and has a nice install of Windows XP on it, fresh even. Has a Core 2 Duo T2300, and I know that because it says it right there. It's 15.4 inches, has a 120 gig SATA hard drive, which is in fact true, 2 gigs of DDR RAM, and a CD drive on this side that is not correct. So I'll need to get that replaced. The media buttons on this side work perfectly, and it has a rotating camera, which I've never seen on a laptop. The touchpad keys, and I don't even know what this is. The touchpad works nicely, and the keys in this work as well. but I'm probably going to wind up replacing those. So, that one was rather short because I was able to keep it short. So, on to the next one. Next laptop on our list is an HP Compaq NC6000. I cannot power this one on as the battery is completely flat and I do not have the correct AC adapter for it. So, until I can get an AC adapter for it, this one remains a mystery. The keyboard does not have any glazing but is quite dirty. And the track point is as well. It has all the correct parts, it would seem. The DVD-ROM drive is correct. The battery seems original. I don't even think you can take the battery out in this thing. On whatever side it's in. I think I can take the hard drive out, so let me try and do that. Whatever this one is. Yeah, no, I'm not going to be able to take that out one-handed. But it doesn't look like it's ever been disassembled. And I think it has RAM in it too, so that's good. So on to the next one now. Second to last laptop on our list is a near brand new Dell Latitude E6510. This laptop is near brand new condition. The keyboard has literally no glazing whatsoever. The track point works perfectly as well as the buttons for it and the touchpad. The keyboard backlight works nice and all of the media keys and buttons are nice and intact. Only problem, well, hold on. I got this laptop for free. It is a Core i7 first gen for free. And originally it had an install of Windows XP, which had government software on it, so I wiped that quickly. And I installed Windows 7 on it, which it had a Windows 7 Pro COA on the back, so that was nice. I was able to get that registered and installed, so that works all nice. Now, when I installed HD Sentinel in Windows 7 Pro, what astounded me of what I saw about the hard drive is that it had under 10 hours of use on it. Under 10. This laptop would have cost a good $1,000 or more when it was new, I bet. So, having under 10 hours of use on this thing amazed me. Now, I think there's something wrong with the hard drive in this because when it goes to boot into Windows 7, it takes about 30 seconds to do anything with the hard drive light on solid. Now, I've done a spin rate test on this, and it showed no bad sectors, no weak sectors, no read errors, no write errors, so I don't know what that's about. And I tried a different hard drive, and it worked perfectly fine there, so I don't know. The only real problem that I can name with this is that it lacks a battery, and I'm covering up the Windows 7 sticker, so none of you people steal my Windows 7. It does not have a battery, and I had ordered a battery prior, and I had tried to get it to work, but it would not charge the battery under any circumstances. So, the seller I got it from on eBay, I told them that the battery might be defective and they sent me a replacement. That didn't work, so I wound up just getting a refund. Now, I'm not sure where the problem lies. I'm not sure whether the problem lies in the batteries, the charging circuit, or the jack, because I know it's not the adapters. I've tried like 3 or 4 adapters on this thing and it will not charge the battery in any circumstances. So that's something to figure out for another day, but other than the battery problem, this laptop is phenomenal. On to the next one, and last one. The next and last laptop on our list is an HP Compaq NC6400, which I think may be one of the successors to the NC6000, which is sitting right over there. This laptop is in pretty darn good condition for its age. The keyboard has no glazing, but unfortunately has a few missing keys, and the track point top has gone missing. The battery holds enough charge that I can confidently turn it on and boot it into Windows, or not Windows, Linux Mint XFCE. But I'm not going to do that right now because I have stuff to demonstrate. The the touchpad and mouse keys work nicely, and it has an SD slot right there, as well as a, I'm not sure what that is. It says SC, so it's smart card, that's what it is. I couldn't remember the acronym there for a minute. All of the media keys up here work nicely, and the power button feels nice as well. On the back side is where the problems lie. Right here. No hard drive cover, no hard drive caddy, no RAM cover. Which is unfortunate, but hey, if that's the way the cookie crumbles, I guess. The hard drive in here right now is a 40 gig Fujitsu hard drive, so I have no problems with that. And I'm probably going to get the battery replaced even though it works. So right quick, I'm just going to boot it into XFCE just to demonstrate how good of a charge the battery holds, especially for the age. It has a Core 2 Duo inside. Forgot to mention that. Even though it says Centrino, it's the marketing term. I'll just skip to when this loads because it does take a while to load. Here we are, the login screen for Windows. Wow, Linux Mint XFCE. There's another problem with this too. If you could see around the edges of the screen, it looks like it has water damage. I'm not sure what that's from, but either way, I'm just going to get a screen replacement. So that's about it for this one, and I'll show the shutdown, and that'll be it for this video. So I thank you for watching, and have a nice day. I will do some follow-up videos at the end of this, just to cover all these laptops that I've fixed, and I think I'm going to start with this one because it's in the best condition. So, until next time, thank you for watching.